The red sun of Kepler-4 Fortuby was setting behind the Crystal Mountains when Jake Collins heard the explosion. He dropped his coffee mug and ran outside the mining station. Black smoke rose from the eastern canyon like a twisted finger pointing at the orange sky. "What was that?" Lisa Park asked, running up beside him. She was the colony's medic, a small woman with kind eyes and steady hands. "Something crashed," Jake said, grabbed his scanner from his belt. The device showed metal debris scattered. Across the canyon floor, about 2 miles from their settlement, Ryan Bell jogged over. His security uniform dusty from the day's patrol. "Could be a meteor," he said, but his hand rested on his weapon. Jake shook his head as he studied the scanner readings. "Meteors don't leave metal signatures like this. It's a ship." The three humans looked at each other. Ships meant people, and people this far from Earth meant trouble. The war with the Zephyrian Empire had been going on for 15 years. Their small mining colony tried to stay out of it, but the fighting was getting closer every month. "We should call the military," Ryan said. "The nearest military base is 6 days away," Lisa pointed out. "If someone's hurt in that crash, they'll be dead by then." Jake made his decision. "We check it out." "Lisa, bring your medical kit, Ryan. You're with us. Everyone else stays here and keeps the radio on." They took the colony's only ground vehicle, a sturdy rover built for the rocky terrain. The drive to the crash site took 30 minutes. The closer they got, the more worried Jake became. The scanner showed the wreckage was spread over a wide area. Whatever hit the ground had been moving very fast. The crashed ship sat in a crater. Of its own making, it was small, maybe big enough for 2 people. The hull was dark metal with strange curves that hurt to look at. Jake had seen pictures of Zephyrian ships in the news feeds from Earth. This looked like one of their scout vessels. "That's an alien ship," Ryan whispered. Lisa was already climbing out of the rover with her medical bag. "It's a scout ship." "There might be someone alive in there. Someone who wants to kill us," Ryan said. He drew his weapon. "Zephyrians don't take prisoners, Jake. They kill every human they find." Jake understood Ryan's fear. The stories from the war zones were terrible. Whole colonies wiped out, no survivors. But looking at the broken ship, he felt something else. Curiosity? Maybe. Or just basic human decency. "We look," he said carefully. The ship's hull had cracked open on impact. Through the gap, they could see the interior. Strange lights flickered weakly inside. The air that drifted out smelled like copper and something sweet. Jake went first, squeezing through the crack in the hull. His flashlight beam revealed a cockpit designed for someone much taller than a human. The controls were covered in symbols that looked like flowing water. "There," Lisa said behind him. She pointed to the back of the cockpit. The Zephyrian was trapped under a piece of fallen ceiling. It was bigger than Jake had expected, maybe 7 feet tall, even lying down. Skin was pale blue and covered in what looked like natural armor. Plates. Dark liquid that might have been blood pooled around its body. The alien's head turned toward them. Its eyes were large and compound like an insect's, but somehow intelligent. It made a sound, a low humming that might have been words. "It's alive," Lisa breathed. Ryan kept his weapon pointed at the creature. "It's dangerous. Should finish it off and get out of here." But Lisa was already moving forward with her medical. "Scanner, look at those wounds. It's dying." Jake watched the alien's chest rise and fall in an irregular rhythm. Some kind of liquid was leaking from cracks in its armor. The creature's compound eyes seemed to focus on him for a moment. There was no anger in them, just pain and confusion. "Can't leave it like this," Jake said. "It's a Zephyrian," Ryan argued. "They're killers. This thing probably destroyed human colonies before it crashed here." "Maybe," Jake said. But right now, it's just hurt." Lisa had her scanner out, taking readings. "Its life signs are getting weaker. If we're going to do something, we need to do it now." The ethical weight of the moment settled on Jake's shoulders. Every piece of military training told him that Zephyrians were the enemy. The news broadcasts showed their ships destroying human settlements. The refugees who sometimes passed through their colony told stories of Zephyrian cruelty. But looking at the broken creature in the wreckage, Jake saw something different. He saw a living being in pain, far from home and facing death alone. "Take it back," he decided. Jake, no, Ryan said. This is insane. What if it recovers and kills us all? And we'll deal with that when it happens, Jake replied. But I'm not leaving a wounded creature to die in a crashed ship. That's not who we are. Lisa was already figuring out how to move the injured alien. We'll need to be careful. I don't know anything about their anatomy, but some of these wounds look serious. It took all three of them to lift the Zephyrian out of the wreckage. The creature was heavier than it looked, and its armor plates made it difficult to get a good grip. Every time they moved it, more of the dark liquid leaked from its wounds. The alien made soft humming sounds during the transport. Jake couldn't tell if it was conscious or just reacting to pain. Its compound eyes sometimes seemed to track their movements, but mostly they stared at nothing. Loading it into the rover was the hardest part. They had to remove the back seats and lay the creature across the cargo area. Lisa rode in the back, monitoring its vital signs with her medical scanner. This is crazy, Ryan muttered, as Jake drove back toward the colony. We're going to get everyone killed. Maybe Ryan was right, Jake thought. Maybe this was the stupidest decision he'd ever made. But as he looked in the rearview mirror, at Lisa working to keep the alien alive, he knew he couldn't have made any other choice. The sun had set completely by the time they reached the colony. Other settlers gathered around the rover, their faces showing shock and fear when they saw what Jake's team had brought back. Get Dr. Morgan, Jake called out, and clear the medical bay. We've got a patient. Dr. Alex Morgan had never seen anything like the creature lying on his medical table. The Zephyrian was even bigger up close, its pale blue skin covered in natural armor plates that reminded him of a beetle's shell. Dark blood seeped from cracks between the plates, and the alien's breathing sounded like wind through broken glass. I don't know where to start, Alex admitted to Lisa. They stood in the colony's small medical bay, looking at their impossible patient. Human medicine might kill it. Lisa checked her scanner readings again. Its heart rate is dropping. We have to try something. The alien's compound eyes suddenly opened, tracking movement around the room. It tried to sit up, but fell back with a sound that might have been pain or surprise. When it saw the humans watching, something changed in its posture. The creature tensed, as if preparing for an attack. It thinks we're going to hurt it, Lisa said softly. Alex approached slowly, his hands visible and empty. The Zephyrian's eyes followed every movement. When Alex reached for his medical scanner, the alien made a sharp hissing sound and tried to roll away from him. Easy, Alex said, though he doubted the creature understood. We're trying to help. Jake entered the medical bay with Kate Davis, the colony's communications expert. Kate carried a tablet computer and looked nervous but determined. Any luck with communication? Jake asked. Kate shook her head. I've tried basic mathematical sequences, but it's not responding. Maybe it doesn't understand what I'm trying to do. Zephyrian watched them talk. Its head moved from person to person, as if following the conversation. When Kate held up her tablet showing simple number patterns, the alien's eyes focused. On the screen for a long moment, wait, Kate said excitedly. Look at its skin. Everyone turned to stare at the creature. The armor plates on its chest were glowing faintly, showing patterns of light that pulsed in a steady rhythm. As they watched, the patterns changed, becoming more complex. It's trying to communicate, Lisa breathed. Kate quickly recorded the light patterns on her tablet. The alien watched her do this, then made the lights change again. This time, the pattern was clearly different from the first. It knows we're trying to talk to it, Kate said. She showed the tablet to the alien, playing back the recorded light patterns. The creature's eyes widened, and it made a soft humming sound that seemed pleased. Over the next few hours, Kate worked to establish basic communication, while Alex and Lisa tried to treat the alien's injuries. They discovered that the creature could control the light patterns on its skin like a second language. Different colors seemed to mean different things. The biggest breakthrough came when Lisa accidentally touched the alien's arm while cleaning a wound. The Zephyrian's skin flashed bright yellow, and it pulled away quickly. But then, more slowly, it moved its arm back toward Lisa's hand. I think yellow means fear, Lisa said. She kept her movement slow and gentle. When she touched the alien's arm again, the The yellow faded to a soft blue glow. And blue might mean calm, Kate added, making notes on her tablet. Dr. Morgan found that the alien's blood was similar to human blood in some ways, but with important differences. Its wounds were deep, but they seemed to be healing faster than human injuries would. The creature's natural armor was cracked in several places, exposing softer tissue underneath. "I think these plates grow back," Alex said, examining a broken piece of armor that had fallen off. "Like fingernails, but much stronger." The alien watched everything they did with growing interest instead of fear. When Alex cleaned and stitched a wound on its shoulder, the creature held perfectly still. Its skin glowed a steady green color that none of them had seen before. "Green might mean gratitude," Lisa suggested, "or trust." They worked through the night. Lisa stayed by the alien's side, monitoring its vital signs and changing bandages. The creature seemed to sleep for short periods, but it never fully relaxed. Even unconscious, its skin would flash yellow whenever someone new entered the room. By morning, the Zephyrion was clearly stronger. It could sit up without help and had begun making different sounds, possibly trying to speak. Kate had identified several distinct light patterns that seemed to have consistent meanings. The real test came when Susan Clark, Cade the colony administrator, visited the medical bay. She was a stern woman who made difficult decisions for the good of the colony. She took one look at the alien and frowned. "Hey, Jake, we need to talk," she said. They stepped into the hallway, but the alien could still see them through the medical bay's window. Jake noticed its skin had turned yellow again, and it was watching Susan with obvious concern. "I've been in contact with the outer settlements," Susan said quietly. "Word is spreading that we have a Zephyrian here. Some people are demanding we turn it over to the military." "It's hurt," Jake protested. "It's not a threat to anyone." "That's not the point," Susan replied. "People are scared. The war's getting closer every month. Having one of them here makes everyone nervous." Through the window, they could see Lisa talking softly to the alien while changing its bandages. The creature's skin had returned to the calm blue color, and it was making gentle humming sounds. "Look at it," Jake said. "Does that look like a killer to you?" Susan watched for a moment. The alien was clearly trying to help Lisa by holding still during the bandage change. When she finished, it made the green light pattern that they had learned meant gratitude. "It's still one of them," Susan said, but her voice was less certain. Kate came out of the medical bay with her tablet, excitement on her face. "I think I've made a major breakthrough," she said. "Watch this." She went back to the alien and showed it a simple drawing on her tablet of a human figure. The creature studied. The image then pointed at Lisa. Kate nodded and drew a second figure, this one taller and with different proportions. She pointed at the alien. The Zephyrian skin flashed bright white, a color they had never seen before. Then it reached out carefully and touched the tablet screen. It made a sound that was clearly different from its usual humming. "I think it just said its name," Kate whispered. The alien repeated the sound, then pointed at itself. The sound was complex, with clicks and hums that human throats could never make. But Kate did her best to repeat it back. The creature's skin exploded in rainbow patterns of light, cycling through colors rapidly. It made excited sounds and reached out toward Kate's hand. "Its name is something like Vex High," Kate said still, staring at the light show on the alien's skin, "and I think it's happy that we asked." For the first time since the crash, Vexai seemed truly relaxed. The constant tension in its posture faded, and its breathing became slower and deeper. It looked around the room at each human, its compound eyes somehow conveying emotions that crossed species lines. Jake felt something shift in his understanding. This was not just an alien enemy they had rescued. This was a person with a name, feelings, and the capacity for gratitude. Whatever Vex High had been before the crash, right now it was simply a wounded being far from home. Grateful for kindness from strangers, the implications of that realization would change everything. 3 days after the crash, Vexai could walk short distances around the medical bay. His wounds were healing faster than any human injury would, but he still moved carefully. The broken armor plates on his chest were already growing back, forming thin layers of new protection. Kate had made amazing progress with communication. She had created a simple translation program on her tablet that could convert basic concepts between human words and Zephyrian light patterns. It was rough, but they could have simple conversations now. "We're home," Kate asked, using the tablet to show the question in light patterns. Vexai's skin flickered with colors as he responded. The tablet translated his answer as star cluster. "Far. Many jumps in ship. Why you here?" she asked next. The alien's response was longer and more complex. The tablet struggled to translate, showing fragments like orders, search, and duty. But then Vexai did something unexpected. His skin turned a dark purple color that they had never seen before, and he made a low, sad sound. "I think purple means sadness," Lisa said. She had been spending most of her time with Vexai, helping him with physical therapy and bringing him food. The alien could eat some human foods, though he preferred fruits and vegetables to meat. Dr. Morgan had been working on a better translation device using parts from the colony's computer system. When he finished it, the conversations became much clearer. "Tell us about your home," Jake said through the new device. Vexai's response came through as broken but understandable English. "Homeworld beautiful, blue oceans, crystal cities. My family live in Mountain Valley. 3 children, mate, parents." The humans exchanged glances. This was the first time Vexai had mentioned having a family. "You have children?" Lisa asked gently. "Yes, 2 daughters, 1 son. Young. They learn art of light speaking." Skin showed a warm golden glow. "I miss them much." "Why are you fighting humans then?" Ryan asked. He had been suspicious of the alien from the beginning, but even he seemed affected by talk of Vexai's family. The golden glow faded from Vexai's skin, placed by the dark purple of sadness. "Long story, my people not always warriors, who were peaceful long ago." Over the next several hours, Vexai told them about Zephyrian history. His people had once been peaceful traders and artists, known throughout their part of the galaxy for beautiful light sculptures and complex philosophical ideas. But 300 years ago, their homeworld had faced a terrible crisis. "Resources running out," Vexai explained. "The population too big for one world. Some say we must expand or die. Military leaders take control. They say only strong survive." Alien skin showed shifting patterns of purple and gray as he continued. "Military castes become rulers. They teach children that conquest is honor, that weakness is death. Those who speak against war disappear." "But you're part of the military," Jake pointed out. "Yes," Vexai admitted. "I'm born into warrior family. Trained from childhood to fight, but I have doubts. Many have doubts. We cannot speak them." Lisa leaned forward. "What kind of doubts?" Vexai was quiet for a long moment. His skin cycled through several colors before settling on a dim blue. "We told humans are monsters, evil creatures who destroy everything they touch. We told you have no honor, no compassion." He looked around the room at each human face. "You save me, you heal wounds, you give food, you learn my name, you ask about my family. Monsters do not do these things." The weight of his words settled over the group. Kate was the first to speak. "What will happen when you go back to your people?" "I do not know," Vexai replied. "I tell truth about humans, they may call me traitor. If I lie, more humans die." In war, Dr. Morgan had been quiet during most of the conversation, but now he spoke up. What if there was another way? What if he could help end the war? Vexai's compound eyes focused on him. "How? By showing other Zephyrians what you learned here? By proving that humans and Zephyrians can understand each other?" "Wow." The alien's skin flashed several colors rapidly. "Very dangerous. My people kill. Those who show weakness. Compassion, seen as weakness." "But not all of them think that way," Lisa said. "You said many have doubts." "Yes, but they hide doubts. Fear makes them silent." Ryan had been listening with growing concern. "This is all very interesting, but we have a bigger problem. Our long-range sensors picked up ships heading this way. Zephyrian ships." Everyone turned to look at him. "How many?" Jake asked. "At least 5, maybe more. They'll be here in 2 days." Vexai's skin turned bright yellow with fear. "Search squadron, they look for me." Will they attack the colony? Susan Clark asked. She had been sitting quietly in the corner, listening to everything. If they think you killed me, yes, Vexai said. If they think you hold me prisoner, yes. If they think I told you military secrets, yes. What if we just give you back to them? Ryan suggested. Vexai's skin showed the purple of sadness again. They will execute me. Allowing capture is dishonor. Being helped by enemies is treason.
Lisa
stood up suddenly. That's not right. You didn't choose to crash here. You didn't choose to be injured. We chose to help you. Your choices do not matter to my leaders, Vexai said gently. Only results matter. Only strength matters. Jake began pacing around the room. There has to be another option. Some way to handle this that doesn't end with people dying. There is, Kate said slowly. Vexai, what if you could prove to your people that cooperation with humans makes Zephyrians stronger, not weaker? How? By showing them what you learned here. The medical techniques Dr. Morgan used to heal you, the communication methods we developed, the technology we shared? Vexai considered this possible. Be very risky. If search leader is traditional warrior, he will not listen. Who's leading the search squadron? Jake asked. War Commander Thechumar. He was my teacher in military. Academy. Very traditional. Very strong believer in Zephyrian superiority. Dr. Morgan pulled up the alien's medical records on his tablet. Look at this, Vexai. Your injuries were severe. Without human medical care, you would have died. That's not weakness on your part. That's just biology. Alien studied the medical scans. Yes, these wounds would have been fatal. And our communication device, Kate added. It allows our species to understand each other. That's not weakness either. It's progress. My people fear progress, Vexai said. They prefer old ways. Lisa sat down next to him. But you don't. You've changed since you've been here. You've learned that humans aren't monsters. Maybe you can teach others. Vexai's skin glowed with soft white light. You ask me to risk everything? My life? My family's safety? My honor? We're asking you to choose, Jake said, between the old way of thinking and something new, between fear and understanding. Aelion was quiet for a long time. Skin cycled through many colors as he thought. Finally, he spoke. I will try. When Search Squadron arrives, I will speak to War Commander Vekmer. I will show him what I learned. But you must understand. This may not work. He may order attack anyway. We understand, Jake said, that it's better than giving up without trying. Vexai looked around the room at the humans who had saved his life. You are not what my people said you were. You are not monsters. Are ... something else. Something we forgot how to be. What's that? Lisa asked. Kind, Vexai said simply. You are kind. Outside, the stars shone down on the small colony.
Us.
Somewhere among those stars, a Zephyrian search squadron was coming closer. In 2 days, they would face a test that could change the course of the war or end in tragedy for everyone involved. But for now, in the quiet medical bay, 2 species had found something more powerful than weapons or armor. They had found understanding. The Zephyrian ships appeared in the sky like dark metal birds against the morning sun. There were 6 of them, sleek and dangerous, hovering above the colony in perfect formation. Their weapons were clearly visible, pointed down at the human. Settlement Jake stood in the colony's main square with the other leaders, watching the ships through binoculars. Beside him, Vexai wore a simple human jumpsuit that Dr. Morgan had modified to fit his larger frame. The alien's skin showed nervous flickers of yellow and blue. A loud voice boomed from the lead ship. Speaking in the clicking, humming language of the Zephyrians, Vexai translated through Kate's communication device. War Commander Vekmer demands return of missing soldier. You have 1 standard day cycle to comply or face destruction. Susan Clark looked pale. Can we trust them too? Leave us alone if we hand you over. Vex's skin turned dark purple. Unknown. Dekmer is an honorable warrior, but he follows strict rules. If he believes you harmed me or learned military secrets, he will attack. And if you go back, they'll execute you, Lisa said. She had barely left Vex's side since the ships arrived. Probably, Vexai agreed. but maybe not immediately. I am a valuable soldier. They may question me first. Dr. Morgan stepped forward with a datapad full of medical scans and treatment records. What if we send proof of what really happened? Show them how we treated your injuries. They will not understand, Vexai said sadly. To them, accepting help from enemies is shameful. They will think I am weak or traitor. Ryan had been studying the ships through his own binoculars. We could try to fight. The colony has some defensive weapons, 6 military ships against mining. Colony defenses. Jake shook his head. It wouldn't last 5 minutes. The group fell silent, each person lost in their own thoughts. The weight of the decision pressed down on them like the hot afternoon sun. Kate was working on her tablet, writing something. What if we try a different approach? What if Vexai doesn't go back as a rescued prisoner but as someone who learned valuable intelligence? What do you mean? Jake asked. He could tell them he was gathering information about human weaknesses. Learning our language, studying our technology, understanding our culture. Vexai's compound eyes focused on her. Deception? Not really deception, Kate said carefully. You did learn about humans. You just learned different things than they expect. But the medical treatment, Lisa protested. How do we explain that? Dr. Morgan looked thoughtful. What if we say Vexai was pretending to be more hurt than he was, making us think he was helpless so we would trust him? I was very hurt, Vexai said. We know that, Dr. Morgan replied. But they don't have to know that. Vexai was quiet for a long moment, his skin cycling through different colors. This plan has problems. Knows me since I was a young warrior. He will see changes in my light patterns. He will know I speak truth differently now. What kind of changes? Lisa asked. Before Crash, my light speech was harsh, military style. Now, after time with humans, I speak more softly. More colors, more emotions. He will notice. Jake began, pacing then. We need to give you a reason for those changes, something that fits with their way of thinking. What if you tell them that learning human communication made you better at understanding their weaknesses? Kate suggested. You had to become more like them to fool them. Vexai considered this. Possible, but dangerous. If Thekmar suspects I truly changed, he will execute me immediately. Another voice came from the ships, more urgent than. Before Vexai translated, they grow impatient. They want answers soon. Susan Clark had been quiet, but now she spoke up. There's another option. We could evacuate the colony. Load everyone into our transport ships and leave. And go where? Ryan asked. This is our home, our livelihood. Everything we built is here. Better than being dead, Susan replied. No, Vexai said suddenly. Everyone turned to look at him. His skin was glowing with steady white light. No running. No lying. I will tell truth. Vexai, that's suicide, Lisa said. Maybe, but maybe not. The alien looked at each human in turn. You showed me something I thought was lost from Galaxy, showed me kindness between enemies. If I die for speaking this truth, perhaps death, has meaning. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. What are you saying? I will return to ships. I will tell Thekmar exactly what happened, how you found me dying and chose to save me, how you gave me medicine, food, friendship, how you learned my name and asked about my family. They'll kill you, Dr. Morgan said quietly. Perhaps. But some may listen. Some may wonder why humans would save enemy soldier. Some may begin to question what we are told about your people. Kate was shaking her head. It's too risky. There has to be another way. Is there? I asked. Every plan we discuss involves deception, but deception is old way. Fear and lies and hatred, these are things that started war. Truth is new way. Lisa stepped closer to him. What about your family, your children? Vexai's skin showed the golden glow they had learned meant love and warmth. I think of them constantly. But what world am I leaving for them? World of endless war? World where compassion is forbidden? He looked up at the ships hovering overhead. If my truth can plant small seed of change, maybe my children will live in better world. Maybe war will end before they must become soldiers. The group stood in silence, absorbing the weight of Vexai's decision. Finally, Jake spoke. If you're determined to do this, we should give you everything we can to support your story. Medical records, communication logs, evidence of how we treated you? Yes, Dr. Morgan agreed. Show them the medical scans. Prove that we could have let you die, but chose to save you instead. Kate held up her tablet. I have recordings of our conversations. Proof that we learned to communicate, that we asked about your family and your home. And this, Lisa said, pulling a small package from her pocket, I made it for you. She handed Vexai a simple cloth bag containing human food items he had enjoyed during his recovery. Fruits, vegetables, and some of the colony's homemade bread.
Food.
From friends, she said softly. Vexai's skin exploded in rainbow patterns of light. He made sounds that the translation device couldn't interpret, but the emotion was clear. Gratitude, affection, and something deeper. I do not have words in either language, he finally said. You gave me life twice. Once when you healed body, once when you healed spirit. A new transmission came from the ships, more demanding than before. Time was running out. I must go, Vexai said. He looked at each human one last time. Whatever happens, remember this. One Zephyrian soldier learned truth about humans. If war continues, it will not be because truth was not spoken. Jake extended his hand in the human gesture of farewell. Vexai took it carefully, his alien fingers wrapping around Jake's hand. Thank you, the alien said, for showing me what my people forgot, for reminding me that enemies can become friends. He walked toward the landing pad where a human shuttle waited to take him up to the Zephyrian ships. His back was straight, his steps confident. The scared, wounded creature they had found in the crashed ship was gone. In his place walked someone who had found the courage to speak truth, even if it meant death. As the shuttle lifted off, carrying Vexai toward an uncertain fate, the humans below could only watch and hope that kindness and truth were stronger than fear and hatred. The real test was about to begin. The shuttle docked with the lead Zephyrian ship with a soft thud. Vexai stepped through the airlock and immediately felt the familiar weight of his homeworld's artificial gravity. The ship smelled like metal and ozone, so different from the warm, living sense of the human colony. War Commander Thekmar waited in the docking bay with 6 armed soldiers. He was even larger than Vexai, his armor plates scarred from many battles. His compound eyes showed no emotion as he studied his former student. Soldier Vexai Thekmar said in their native language. You live, as Commander Vexai replied. He stood at attention, but something was different about his posture. The rigid military bearing was softer now, more relaxed. Thekmar noticed immediately. You have changed, yes, Commander. I have learned much. The war commander gestured for Vexai to follow him. They walked through corridors filled with other Zephyrian soldiers, all of whom stared at Vexai with curiosity and suspicion. Word of his capture by humans had spread through the fleet. They entered the X-Mars command chamber, a room lined with weapons and battle honors. The war commander took his place behind a massive desk while Vexai stood before him. Report, Thekmar. Commanded, Vexai took a deep breath. This was the moment that would decide everything. He could lie, create a story that would satisfy his commander and probably save his life. Or he could tell the truth and risk everything for the chance to change something fundamental about the war. I was on patrol mission when my ship developed. Engine problems, Vexai began. I crashed on the human colony world. I was badly injured, and the humans captured you, Thekmar said. No, Commander. They rescued me. Thekmar's skin flickered with surprise. Explain. I was trapped in my ship, dying from internal injuries. The humans found me and chose to save my life. They brought me to their medical facility and treated my wounds. The war commander's compound eyes narrowed. You allowed enemies to heal you? This is disgrace. I was unconscious, Commander. When I awoke, the healing had already begun. Observed their methods. I learned their weaknesses. This was not entirely a lie. Vexai had learned about humans, just not what Thekmar expected. What weaknesses? Vexai pulled out. Vexai pulled out the datapad Dr. Morgan had given him, containing medical records and communication logs. They cannot help themselves from saving wounded enemies, even when it puts them at risk. They spent valuable resources on my recovery. Dekmer studied the medical scans on the device. His expression grew more puzzled as he read. "Were severe," he admitted. "You should have died." "Yes, Commander. But the humans have advanced medical techniques. They saved me when our own medicine would have failed. Why would they waste resources on enemy soldier?" This was the crucial moment. Vexai chose his words carefully. "I believe they cannot help themselves. Their nature compels them to heal, even enemies. It is their greatest weakness." But as he spoke, Vexai's skin began to glow with colors that contradicted his words. The natural light patterns that Zephyrians used showed emotions of gratitude, affection, and respect for the humans who had saved him. Dekimer saw the contradiction immediately. "Your light speech tells different story than your words, student." Vexai. Skin flashed with fear, then settled into steady blue calm. "You taught me that truth is more important than comfort, Commander. Then speak truth." Vexai straightened his shoulders. "The humans did not show weakness when they saved me. They showed strength. Strength to choose compassion over hatred. Strength to risk their safety for a stranger. Strength to see enemy as person, not monster." The skin began to show angry red patterns. "You speak heresy." "I speak experience," Vexai replied. "They learned my name. They asked about my family. They shared their food and their knowledge. They treated me not as prisoner, but as guest. Impossible. Humans are savages." "Have you ever spoken to human, Commander? Have you learned their language, heard their stories, seen their art?" Dekmer stood up abruptly. "Dant, you have been corrupted by enemy propaganda." "No," Vexai said quietly. "I have been healed by enemy kindness." He pulled out the small bag of food Lisa had given him. "They gave me this. Food from their own table, shared freely. When did we last show such generosity to prisoners?" "We take no prisoners," Vekmar said automatically. "Exactly. We kill without." Question. "We destroy without understanding. We have become what we once fought against." The war commander's skin was now bright red with anger. "You forget yourself, soldier. You speak treason. I speak truth that you taught me to value." Vexai replied, "You said strong warrior must see reality clearly, not through comfortable lies." Us. Dekmer was quiet for a moment, his skin cycling through different colors. "Even if what you say is true about these particular humans, it changes nothing. War continues." "Orders are orders." "Does it have to continue?" Vexai asked. "What if there was another way?" "There is no other way. High Command has decided. High Command has never spoken to humans. They base decisions on fear and old hatred. I have lived among humans. I know." "Truth, Vex." High stepped closer to his former teacher. "Commander, you trained me to think tactically. Consider this. Humans showed mercy to wounded enemy. They spent resources to heal rather than harm. If they can do this for one Zephyrian, what else might be possible?" Dekmer sat down heavily. For the first time since Vexai's return, the war commander looked uncertain. "Even if I believed you," he said slowly, "I cannot change High Command. Orders. I cannot stop war alone." "But you can spare this colony," Vexa said. "You can report that I gathered valuable intelligence that requires further study. You can recommend diplomatic contact instead of destruction. High Command will call me weak, or they will call you wise. You'll be first commander to bring back live intelligence about human behavior. First to suggest that understanding enemy might lead to victory without endless bloodshed." Dekemar studied the medical records again, then looked at his former student. The angry red had faded from his skin, replaced by thoughtful purple patterns. "You ask me to risk everything," he said finally, "as I have risked everything by telling you truth?" The war commander was quiet for a long time. When he spoke again, his voice was different, less harsh. "Show me more of what you learned." For the next several hours, Vexai shared everything. The communication methods Kate had developed, the medical techniques Dr. Morgan had used, the simple kindness Lisa had shown. The difficult decisions Jake had made to protect both his people and a wounded enemy. Other officers were called in too. Hear the report. Some dismissed it as enemy deception. Others listened with growing interest. A few younger soldiers asked questions that showed they were thinking about warfare in new ways. Finally, Thekmer made his decision. I will not attack the colony, he announced. This matter requires consultation with High Command. We returned to Fleet Base with live intelligence. Some officers protested, but Thekmer's authority held. The ships began to power down their weapons. You have changed the course of events today, Vexer told Vexi privately. I do not know where this path leads, or do I, Vexi admitted. But it leads away from certain destruction toward possible understanding. 3 months later, Jake Collins received a message through the colony's long-range communication system. It was a simple transmission in broken English, seeds planted. Some take root. Thank you for showing forgotten path. The signature was a pattern of lights that Lisa immediately recognized as Vex High's expression of gratitude. The war continued. But something had changed. Reports began to filter through of Zephyrian commanders asking questions before attacking. Of diplomatic channels being opened for the first time in generations. Of young soldiers on both sides wondering if there might be alternatives to endless conflict. One wounded alien soldier's encounter with human compassion had planted seeds of change throughout the galaxy. It would take time for those seeds to grow, but the first shoots of hope were beginning to emerge from soil that had known only hatred for too long. In the end, the greatest victory was not won through weapons or tactics, but through the simple recognition that enemies could become friends when they chose to see each other's humanity across the vast darkness of space.